Hi everyone, welcome to our Jackie Wilson's My 30-Minute Live on running technique. We get to talk about all of the exciting things going on and how to do drills as dynamic warm-up drills and how to incorporate them into your strength training routine. Whew. All right. Wow, we got a lot of people coming on, and Jackie should be requesting to join my live momentarily. But yeah, while we're waiting for her, hi everyone, how are you? Hi Rosie Runs, hi to everybody on here, Wanda, Edward. Woo, there's just so many people on here today. Well, I hope you guys are excited to talk about running technique. Try it out for yourselves. And, this could actually really change your running. And I'm really excited to talk to you about it with Jackie. Jackie, hi. Happy
Hi.
Thursday.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. It's just delayed.
Sorry about that. Gotta love Wi-Fi. So I was just telling our followers on here how these running technique drills are very good to implement, like you said, as dynamic warm-up drills, and how they could be used as strength drills within your training to help you run farther and faster and just stay injury-free. But before we dive into that, I would love for you to actually tell the listeners on here, since I've shared personal like breakthroughs by incorporating this strength routine for runners, but basically like what you've been experiencing with your half marathon, let's say 2 weeks ago. Yeah, just because.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating because really these drills have an immediate impact on your running. You may not notice it right away, but when you start to pay attention to it, you will be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I ran a half marathon a couple weekends ago, and when you get into those last few miles of the half marathon, at least for myself, I'm like, okay, let's keep it together. Let's keep on pushing. Where is the finish line? But for this half, it was completely different. I was in the zone and I was really focusing on what I was doing in that moment, in those seconds. And I got on this path that follows just a ditch, and it's just a straightaway. And instantly, I think it was mile 11 or so, these form cues started coming into my mind. Like, okay, are you picking up your feet? How are your arms right now? Like, are you running with proper form? Are you lifting your knees? And as soon as I actually started going through that process of checking in with myself, I really recognized, like, okay, these are the drills that we've been talking about and that I've been doing before my runs or throughout the day to really focus on my running form and technique and to see what a difference that they make. So just to see those cues come into my run when normally I'm focusing on not dying, that was amazing. That was like, just, I don't know, I can't find the word right now, but to actually feel those forms or the cues in my race, but also to be thinking about that in the moment was awesome.
I just got the chills because I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited that that this is beginning to kind of play a role in the way you run. And also you're just also paying it forward to your athletes and to all of you on here. I'm just going to quickly recap how I got into the running technique a little bit. And Jackie, that was amazing. And I'm inspired, and I can't wait to see you continue to thrive in your running. That's amazing. Wow. And especially in the half marathon, like that must have felt so good, like later in the race.
It did. Yes, it did. It was just, I don't know, confirmation sometimes you question, are these things that I'm doing working? And it's these little things that really add up over time, but you have to be consistent with it and stick with it. And
Yeah.
that was just proof for me. And I talk to my athletes a lot about building their book of proof and really building that confidence in themselves. And that was just more confidence for myself in my running, but then also in the stuff that I've been doing and that we've been doing for running technique.
Yes, and Jackie, you have a fan on here. You are the best. I love that you said consistency and oh gosh, I mean, I know, like as a coach, it's it really like takes time. Good things take time, and it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's really rewarding when you begin to see those, I guess, performance goals come out in your training and your runs, and that's amazing. I love that. So I have a similar story, but I guess I got into the whole running technique and really started focusing on my running form when my boyfriend at the time actually noticed that I was running and I wasn't even like pushing off and extending my ankle fully. So on the ground, you guys, what I mean by this is welcome to my apartment studio is like I was running like this and not even fully pushing off and using like my big toe and using that ankle extension while I was running. And, you know, that can not only lead to injuries, but it just, it's, I was getting so frustrated because I was trying to push the pace, but, you know, things were off in my technique. I wasn't strengthening my muscles in ways that running kind of mimics. You know, we all sit all day, so, or for a lot of the day. So, our hip flexors are tight. I didn't even have a good knee drive. And, you know, this was like pointed out to me. And these are things that I didn't even, you know, realize I was doing. That's why it's always good to, you know, kind of have people looking out for you. So um, the silver lining was finding Dr. Yessis, the godfather of running technique. And he is incredible. For those of you who haven't listened to my podcast episode with him, you should because of the wisdom that he shares, and he's just amazing.
Seriously,
And
you guys, like the first 3 minutes of the podcast is gold. Like you'll be hooked on it, and the amount of information that Allie and him talk about is incredible.
thank you. And you know, just the fact that I had the opportunity to have him on that podcast, like I that lit my whole life up. And I know this is ridiculous, but to you guys on here, he literally basically has helped so many runners from, you know, the person who is just running for the first time to like Olympic marathoners fine tune their running technique and see absolute breakthroughs in performances. And it's just, it's incredible how his work hasn't come and like really surfaced. And I feel like a lot of this is because things do not begin with technique and running technique. And I will fully make like full disclosure right here. So at the time when I was, you know, told that I was just flopping my feet and, you know, I had to work on my technique, I said to, you know, my boyfriend at the time, I was like, what are you talking about? My technique's great, but like it really was not. We all have things to work on. And so, you know, going back to the drawing board and like relearning the basics or actually learning things for the correct way and putting myself through it since January. And just like staying consistent with just 3 movements to start out, less is more, has also helped me to see personal breakthroughs in my running too, but to also feel so freaking strong while running. And that is just having been injured and just trying to push paces and feeling like your heart and like your cardiovascular fitness needs to catch up with your physical body is that's a great problem to have because that just takes a little training. Yeah. So, you know, so to everyone on here, we both hope that you guys kind of make use of these drills. I'm going to share the active chords set in the link. And you also sign up to our monthly webinar where we're going to add in like a little layer of personalization in there in September, which is Already next week.
It
So
is. It's fine.
yeah, it's crazy. Wow. You know, this is a great time for those of you, you know, maybe who are thinking about maybe doing a marathon next fall, or maybe just, you know, running because you love it, and staying healthy. You got to start with running technique.
Or if you already are running, training for races, and you're looking for that little thing that can put you over those goals that you're looking for, improving your running technique can have a big impact on um, your strength, but also your speed. Like it all starts with that technique, and it can make a big difference.
Yes, we are both living proof, and we're not just the only living proof. We're both excited to, you know, share this with you and see your breakthroughs, because, you know, there's nothing like seeing that. I mean, everyone deserves to crush it. So, with that being said, Jackie, do you want to maybe demo the knee drive as a dynamic movement, and I could talk about how we could use it for strength, and then I could do the
Yep.
Pawback, and yeah, we could flip. So there's three moves we're going to share in here with you that you could perform these as warm-up drills before your runs without any resistance bands, and then you could strategically program them into your training as strength. But we want to show you the drills so you could kind of see how they mimic running. So the knee drive. So Jackie is bringing up her knee, right? So she's not bringing it up too high. She's driving it forward. And that's excellent. And Jackie, even if you wanted to show like your hip extending, like by like having your right leg back a little.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. You could see her hip extension when she lets her leg come back and down, because that's how you should be leaning from your ankles when you run, with an upright torso and driving your knee forward, not up like Jackie's doing. Beautiful, Jackie. So
It's a lot
that,
easier to do with the band
yeah, so
or the
that
cords.
you, yeah, yes, it's hard to do also standing in place. So if you have a, you know, someone that you could kind of hold onto their shoulder, or you could hold onto the wall, that would be helpful. And that should basically, when you're running at faster paces, you should be exaggerating that knee drive, because what that does is it'll allow your stride length, the amount of distance you're able to go from when one foot hits the ground to when the other foot hits the ground, for that to widen, so that you're exerting less energy while optimizing your running form, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please ask questions.
Well, and I
Yes.
think a good example is thinking about when you're doing strides versus running marathon pace or easy pace. Your knee drive is a lot higher when you're doing strides, and it's more of an exaggeration than your knee drive for an easy run or for marathon pace or half marathon pace. Like your knee drive is going to be higher and more exaggerated the faster that you're running.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So if you have a running form session with Jackie or myself, or you're just kind of self-checking, which would be awesome if you could take this and apply it to your own running. That's a really good point. The faster you're running, if you're doing strides, for example, like before a workout or an interval workout, or at the end of an easier run, you'll notice, or you should have an exaggerated knee drive. So your knee drive should just come a little more forward, versus like maybe like just jogging at a leisurely pace. It might be like that, because you don't need to take like leaps like that when you're, you know, when you're not jogging as fast or running as fast. So the visuals help. We would love for you guys to, you know, obviously I'm going to save this live, but for you to practice this, especially without the bands, before your runs, and just tag us in your stories when you do them, in your Instagram stories, because we want to see all of it. And also we just want to share. Sharing is caring, all this stuff. So that was the knee drive. The second exercise is the Pawback. Jackie, do you want to talk? Oh, I could talk through it. Okay, we got this. All right, so Jackie's going to do the Pawback. So as you could see here, yes, so she's fully extending her leg and then letting her shin come out. And then when she hits the ground, when you put this into motion, her whole leg is under her body, or her center of gravity. So just think, when you're hitting the ground, your foot is landing under your head. right? But, and this movement is very, very good. I actually think as a dynamic move, and thank you, Jackie, that was awesome, because it really is easy to just, after the knee drive, to just like go like this, to not even like let this happen and bring your body forward, like while you're running. And it all just, once you practice these, which I'm sure some of you are itching to get up right now and do, you'll feel it. And with time, like, don't, like, give it like a week, and I'm actually sure you'll actually see some sort of difference if you do this. But that's why you could join our webinar to just find out more of how you could really structure this in a way where it makes sense for your training and where you're at with your fitness journey. But yeah, that was an excellent move. Now, the Pawback work specific muscle is used while running, right? So under your right, like where your glute meets your hamstring, like right there, you're also, you're working your hamstring. And then the knee drive before that, you're really working your hip flexors, like right here, and your quads. So all of those muscles, when you're doing repetitive movements for, like lots of repetitions, you're really kind of reminding your mind, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do when I run. And so your body starts to do it. Cool.
It's important to think about, like, the knee drive is setting you up for a better pawback, because really the beginning of that pawback drill is the knee drive. So if you think about, and the next move that we're talking about is the heel raise, your pawback is setting you up for a powerful ankle extension or heel raise, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. That being said, do you want to show the heel raise? And also maybe the heel drop too? Or
I don't have anything. I don't have anything in my office right now to elevate myself.
I'm going to use a speaker because that's all I have. And I hope I don't break it. I'm not kidding. Okay, so Jackie, if you want to talk through this one, that is awesome.
Yep.
So here.
Yep. So with the ankle extension or the heel raise, you actually want to maybe just pause for a second or two at the top, but you want that full range of motion. And as you lower your heel down, if you go below like ground level, that's why elevating really helps. You will get that full range of motion. And if you think about when you are pushing off of the ground when running, or at the end of the pawback is setting you up for a more powerful push off of the ground. And this drill is actually going to help you with that. So here you can see Allie is demonstrating that. That's awesome to have that all there.
I'm trying to do my best here.
So as she's doing that pawback.
Here.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. That was perfect.
Thank you. I tried to not run into my shelf while doing that, but I hope back to what Jackie said about the knee drive, driving to the pawback, driving to the ankle extension being the most efficient. I hope that just showed you how all three tie together in that order, because they all connect, and you need to optimize all three of them. And for you, in order to make the most out of all these three drills, you can't just like do one. Like, it's okay to focus more on one at one time, but to do these three drills consistently around your runs, it's a game changer. But don't take it from us. Try it out.
Yes, I think that's a good point that you just made. In the podcast, Dr. Yessis says that every runner is different, but we all go through the same motion, which is why every runner needs to be doing these three drills. Like, it's just the non-negotiable. This is how we run. And when you break down the running phases, like, that's what these three drills are. So focusing on form is most important, and then adding in the resistance and speeding up the drills is going to help you tremendously. But form comes first, because if you have bad form in your drills, you're going to have bad form in your running, and then it's not benefiting you.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. That's a really good takeaway from the episode. My gosh, there was such a good amount of information in that episode. I mean, yes, Dr. Yessis, he says literally we all have the basic foundational movements, and but all of us are unique, so the way that's going to look for each of us, that's where the personalization comes in. But doing these drills will optimize the way you run and help you be your best and not break down while doing it. um you know, honestly, if you this I'm paying this advice forward that was given to me when I first started doing these. If you want to just try to see how you use your ankle extension when you're walking, I would suggest starting out doing that and like going outside and trying to really push off the ground while you're walking. Like this is how I start many of my athletes walking on the grass, actually, which is a conversation for another time. But instead of just, like walking around like this, like really like trying to exaggerate your ankle extension, like when you're walking on the street and or your yard, wherever you are, and just kind of like feeling that. Because I feel like, I don't know, at least for me, Jackie, I don't know about you, I definitely did not do that before focusing on my running
Yeah,
technique.
you really have to concentrate on that mind muscle connection. And that's again going back to the repetition of these drills. It's going to ingrain that mind muscle connection into you so that when you are running, you're kind of at the beginning, you're consciously thinking about these cues, but then it's going to be a subconscious thing, or those thoughts are going to come into your mind and you're going to acknowledge them. But that's all you need to do. It's a form check, but it comes with repetition.
And just when next time you're in a 10K or a half marathon, you're like, knee drive, knee drive. No one's going to think you're weird because everyone's going to know that you've been focusing on your running technique. And in all seriousness, having something like that to keep you present and like to refocus when it's like tough in a race or a run, it helps. It really does. It helps. And you might just
That's a good
laugh a
point.
little, that
Yep.
that helps too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay in the smile zone.
Yeah, stay in the smile zone. Even when it hurts, just, I always say, just say yes. I've said it out loud, and you can't not smile when that happens, even if it's like a painful smile. You know, we all run and we're crazy because we run these crazy distances, but that's what makes running amazing. And, incorporating these things into your running practice will help you just run longer for life. And that's really what we all want, right? Is to stay running and to stay healthy, God bless, as long as possible, and to help others do the same. I think it's an incredible sport. There's a low barrier to entry in the sport, which is awesome because so many new runners are starting to run, and this is a really great place to start. So,
And it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. Like, this isn't taking 30 minutes out of your day. Do a few reps. Just start with a few reps and progressively build that and then add in resistance. But do it before you run as a dynamic warm up, or do it later in the day, or maybe before you run if that's when you can fit it in as more of a strength move.
that's a great point. Yeah, as long as you're just incorporating it in a smart way, that's what matters. Yes. So, thank you all for joining. We really appreciate your time, but more importantly, we hope that you find value in this and take, what you've learned from this little, 25-minute IG live and, apply it to your routine. And we hope you come back for more and join the webinar, of course, to, kind of help you fine tune some of these things when you begin to do them, because it could be a little overwhelming, like anything is when it's new. And yeah, to reach out with questions. I'm excited to, just keep sharing this with Jackie and to all of you guys with her. And yeah, also listen to the episode. I will share that in the show notes too.
It's a must listen, you guys. It's incredible. And then on the webinar, we'll also have you do these drills so that we can critique you and give you any tips on what to improve, what to switch up to make sure that your form is on point.
Yes. And one last thing I wanted to add to that, if you join the webinar and you want to be like outdoors, so you can maybe set up your phone on a tripod or something like that, feel free to do that. That's amazing. Both of us are happy to look at you actually running versus like being inside. You don't have to be inside. we'll be the ones who are
That's a
taking
good
care.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to fit it in my office.
Yeah. Listen, whatever works, right? But yeah, so everyone have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you again for joining us midday, and we will see you guys soon on the webinar. Thank you, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye.